I've been sitting on this one for a while. I watched this movie a couple weeks ago and I hadn't done a review on it because I haven't been doing reviews. Kind of been doing more news type things. But you know what? I'm going to go ahead and talk about it and give you my thoughts on this movie, M3GAN. All right. M3GAN is a somewhat of a horror movie about a young girl who lost her parents and has to live with her guardian auntie. And the auntie is a engineer who creates a toy that's supposed to pair with children and be perfect for them. And the dog goes deep off the rails. Now, in my opinion, this is a really good movie, a surprisingly good movie. Unfortunately, it missed an opportunity, in my opinion, to be great and to be spoken of in the realm of like Chucky and Jason Voorhees and Freddy Krueger. And we know in this day and age, we desperately need something like that. Like, when was the last time somebody came up with a horror icon that was so iconic that it had to be mentioned in the same breath as, like, Freddy Krueger or, Leatherface, stuff like that. So let's start with the beginning. So Katie is in the car with her parents. She's playing with one of her toys. Now, this brings up an interesting concept that everybody can relate to, um, where kids are playing with, they're no longer playing with traditional toys anymore. They're playing with toys that kind of require like iPads and stuff like that. Now, her parents are very conscious of this. They create a schedule for her to play with it, but they're on a trip, on a, I guess, a skiing trip or something like that. It's very snowy, a lot of snow. They can't see much, and so they're kind of just like letting her run with it because they're trying to figure out how to navigate through the road. Unfortunately, because of their inability to see, they ended up colliding head on with a big semi truck, and both her parents die. She's critically injured, and now the auntie, who is Aunt Gemma, yeah, Gemma, it's Gemma, who is an engineer who makes toys for a living, and Gemma is taking over as her parent now. Now, here's the interesting thing: this is a golden narrative because Gemma is a middle-aged 30-year-old woman who is deep in her career, and although she volunteered to be the guardian for Katie, how many times do people not like actually go through with it, right? Like, people all the time volunteer to be godparents, but they never actually think that something is going to happen to the actual parents. And so when something actually happens to the actual parents and they have to step into that parental role, they start to panic. Gemma is one of these people because now she's the guardian of a young girl. She doesn't know how to be a mom. She's not really all that interested in being a mom. She's kind of, let's be honest, she's a little bit irritated that Katie is there. For example, she likes to put cups that she's using on holsters. Katie doesn't know anything about that, so it kind of irritates her, right? She also has a bunch of toys up on her shelves that are trophies that are for show. Well, Katie wants to play with the toys, and so Gemma is like, nah, like, this is not for play. Then you got the social worker that wants to come and make sure that the home is a safe space for Katie to live. And so Gemma has to put on this act like she's going to be a good parent, but not really. But whatever. So she has to navigate that. That's really interesting because on one front, you have this thing where you got kids who are being raised by their devices. And then you got middle-aged women who have to come to grips with the fact that maybe one day you might want to be a mom. You know what I mean? So early on, uh, Gemma is struggling and she's trying to manage Katie and her job. She's doing a terrible job. She's neglecting Katie. She's trying to focus on her job. Now, at her job, they're finding out that the competition is coming up with toys that can do the exact same thing that her toys can, but at a cheaper price. And Gemma's trying to make a breakthrough on a brand new toy entitled M3GAN, but her boss doesn't want her working on that because he thinks it's too expensive and he doesn't think that it'll work. Well, eventually Gemma gets an epiphany and she somehow gets M3GAN to work. She pairs up M3GAN with Katie, and the idea of this toy is supposed to pair with a kid and like cater to everything that kid wants, everything that kid needs. It says all the right things, does all the right things, comfort the kid, basically raising the kid while the parent goes off and be, an individual, I suppose. And that's exactly what M3GAN does for Katie. Everything seems all good in the hood with everything seems all good in the hood with M3GAN until M3GAN's learning patterns start to veer a little bit off path. She starts asking questions about stuff she shouldn't know about. And so Gemma is starting to lose grips on Katie because Katie has lost her parents and she's getting very attached to M3GAN, and now Katie is no longer interested in listening to what Gemma has to say. She only cares about what M3GAN wants, and M3GAN starts to understand what protecting Katie means a little bit differently, okay? She starts to look at things like, hey, if you're upsetting Katie, you might be a threat to Katie's mental state. And so she starts offing people one by one. First, she starts with the neighbor's dog, who bites her, by the way, who was a terrorizing dog and whatnot. And then she goes next to a kid who bullies Katie out in the forest, all right, offs him. Next, she finishes off the neighbor next door, killing her. And then after that, she kind of, she kills Gemma's boss and then some guy in a elevator. And then we get towards the end and, they ended up, killing M3GAN and whatnot. Now, M3GAN herself is very menacing, very creepy, but at the same time, adorable looking, right? They nailed M3GAN's look. Not that there was something to go off of, but they made it was a perfect balance between being very adorable to look at and very freaking creepy. All right. M3GAN is very menacing. There's this shot of after she gets bit by the dog is trying to bite the M3GAN's arm off and stuff. And she gets up and her hair is all messed up and she's looking over at the dog. That was one of the creepiest scenes in the movie. She looks absolutely crazy. The problem I have with this film is that I'm just going to say it, they pussyfooted out on the gore. All right. When you talk about slasher films, when you talk about horror films, you want to see the damage that the antagonist is doing. Obviously, you're not going to show her killing a dog. Nobody wants to see that. But they didn't show much. I mean, there was one scene where when she stabbed the boss, they didn't really show it. There was just the weapon. There was blood on the weapon, and then he kind of I guess threw up some blood. And then there was the guy in the elevator. I can't remember. I think she, cut his neck, but that was about it. Everybody else, when she killed the neighbor next door, I think she sprayed pesticides on her. I was like, really? And then the kid in the forest, she didn't even really kill him. She chased him, and she ripped his ear off, I suppose, and then she chased him through the forest. He fell down a hill, landed in the street, and got hit by a truck. I mean, come on, man. I understand this is 2023 and everybody's sensitive and all of that, but come on, we can show a little bit more. I want to see her cut a leg off, cut a head off, do something that's going to make me oh, holy, you know what I'm saying? Do something that's going to make me fear M3GAN. Now, Gemma, I like Gemma's character because this is how you write a very good female character, and show growth over the film. This was a clinic on how to write a female character without making her stronger than everybody or making her, an asshole or whatever the case may be. Gemma came in not reluctantly raising Katie and ended up understanding what she was missing out on as the film progressed. She's really kind of a dirtbag. She's using Katie as a marketing ploy to sell her new M3GAN toy until she starts to realize that M3GAN is going off the rails, Katie is going off the rails, and it's probably time for me to start getting a handle back on this. Another thing that I have to complain about is Gemma has two friends. I think it was Cole and Tess. I think it was, or maybe it was Tess and Ryan. I know one of them was Tess. All right, and there was a scene where it was a perfect opportunity to show how much of a menace M3GAN could be by killing those two characters. But they didn't. Somehow they survived an explosion. Are you kidding me? Why? Why not kill those two characters? To describe the scene, basically M3GAN was turned off, and they were trying to work on M3GAN. M3GAN was kind of hanging up, and they were trying to access some files into M3GAN's mainframe, but M3GAN was blocking them off in the computer. And then Tess started to realize, holy shit, I think M3GAN is doing something.
I heard something. It sounded like M3GAN.
If she comes in this room, I'll rip your head right off your neck, I swear to God.
I thought about what you said. About how when something's broken, you don't just throw it away. You fix it.
And then it was kind of building up this really tense moment where you knew M3GAN was about to get up and start murking shit. Unfortunately, that is not what happened. M3GAN blew up the room, and Tess and Cole, or maybe Ryan, they survived it. How? But this is the kind of, like, this is what I mean by pussyfooting around. So if I have to give this movie a rating, I'd say I'd have to go 7.5 to lower 8. I feel like you had real potential to go rated R and show us what M3GAN can do. Instead, you decided to snowflake out on the gore, on the killing, and it kind of took it away from me. I hope that M3GAN can get a sequel and they can, build on that. But maybe like, also I want to say there was this scene of M3GAN dancing that kind of went viral. I want to say for some odd reason that did not take me out of the movie. I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was menacing. I actually thought it was spot on. Like, there was earlier she was learning how to dance with Katie, and then of course right before murdering Gemma's boss, she does that dance, and it was freaking hilarious, bro. Like, not hilarious so I can't take this serious, like hilarious as in holy shit, you're finna die. Anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments. That is M3GAN. We're gonna do more reviews going forward. I'll talk to y'all a little bit later.